Hey everybody, BusaBob here, and today I'm talking about a tool storage canister, and I'm going to put this on my Triumph Tiger 800XC. So this particular piece came from a company called Agri Supply, and it's AGRI supply.com. And the cost of the tube is only $5, but it actually cost more to ship it to me than it did for the canister. So I ended up paying about $13 with shipping, but still worth it. It's got a neoprene seal on it, and it's actually pretty handy. It could come in handy for a few things. Some people have used this as a coffee cup or something to eat out of, and you know, it's pretty spacious, 3.5 inches in diameter, and roughly, well, with the top on, it's probably about 13-14 long. Anyway, it's got these mounting holes, and it does have a breather hole in it right here, and I think that's for condensation, but I'm probably going to plug that up because the way I'm going to mount it on the bike is going to be like this, so the hole will actually be facing up. Now, the first thing I want to do is get this paint off of here. And I've done this before. You can actually use acetone to do this. So I'm going to get my acetone rag ready, and I'm going to get the paint off of it. Okay, unfortunately I'm filming with one hand here, so it may take a little elbow grease, or I guess it may not, but you can see with the acetone it does take that off. You know, you probably have to put a little elbow grease on it, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. There's also a section on the cap that is painted, so I'm going to get that. Now, some of you may be wondering, does the acetone destroy the plastic? And the answer is no. I've done this before, and I actually, the first time I did it, I tested it to make sure it wasn't eating away at the plastic. So everything is good there. So this thing is actually ready to mount on the bike. Okay, I'm going to mount this tube on the 2014 Triumph Tiger 800XC, and it's going to go up on the subframe, opposite side of the muffler. And as you can see, I've got some brackets on there. I've got some luggage that I installed on there. It's actually Krauser luggage, and there is a nice space underneath here for this tube. And my plan is there's some grommets underneath here, and there's 3 of them, one up on top and then 2 down on the bottom. And I have test fitted the tube, and it appears that it lines up pretty closely with the lower grommet and then the upper grommet on top. And I may have to do a little work on this. I might have to elongate this with a milling bit or something. And I did that before when I mounted it on my KLR 650. So anyway, first thing is I have to take these grommets out, so I'm going to have to put the camera down for a second. Okay, unfortunately the grommets weren't so easy to come out. I used some pry tools, but actually the head broke off of it. I probably could have unscrewed it, but I ended up having to use a punch. And I poked the rest of the grommet back up into the hole. Now you can see that the alignment of the holes is pretty close, so I'm going to go ahead and get some screws. Okay, the size of the bolts, it's actually, I think it's an M6. The diameter of the the thread is 5.8 something millimeters, so I think it's an M6. The head on the screw is actually at 8 millimeters, so these are very common on motorcycles. Okay, I want to point out here that this is actually a perfect fit on the subframe of the Triumph Tiger 800XC. I did not have to modify or elongate the holes on this thing. The screw went right up into the subframe as I expected. Anyway, the point is, no modifications on the tube. It bolts right up. So this is going to work out quite nicely. And what I chose to do was put this one on the furthest hole out. And if you're really meticulous about this, you could probably cut this plastic away. The reason I'm doing this is because the tube actually will tilt out a bit towards the outside of the bike. It's not going to interfere with the pannier mounts. So this is going to work out nicely. I'm actually quite happy with this. So I'll get everything bolted up and then I'll get some more pictures for you. Okay, there's one slight issue here. There's some webbing on the plastic that runs up to the 3 holes that are in the plastic, and there's this piece on the bike that the webbing is kind of running into. So what I'm probably going to do is find a good thick washer and get this thing kind of spaced down off of the frame. So I'm going to go ahead and find a washer and put that in there. I don't quite like how that webbing is interfering with the piece on the frame. So I'll go ahead and do that. Okay, I didn't find a great assortment of washers in my bucket of bolts, but I did find 2 washers and a rubber washer. So I'm going to use that as a sandwich and go ahead and put that in between the tube and the subframe, just to space this thing off of this piece a little bit. I suppose you could cut out the webbing too if you wanted to. If you had a little die grinder or something, you can probably cut that webbing out pretty easily, but I'll just stick these washers in here and see how that goes. Okay, it looks like that washer worked out pretty nicely. The webbing still is touching the piece on the subframe, but it's not going to cause any problem. I just wanted to get it spaced off of there a little bit so I wasn't warping the piece on the tube. Okay, so we'll go ahead and fit up the cover. Okay, that's actually looking pretty good. It's on there pretty snug. So here we have the finished product, and as I said, actually what I used is some black silicone RTV to plug the hole up on top. And as I said, if you wanted to, you could make this a little cleaner. You could cut off this section so you don't see the holes down there and the excess plastic, but I think that's going to give it a little extra strength, so I'm just going to leave it there. And it actually fits quite nicely under the bags, and it's pretty inconspicuous. What I have in there right now is my tire irons and some paracord and some tie wraps and some rope. Anyway, there it is. No fuss, no muss, just a couple of bolts and some washers, and the thing fits right on the subframe of the Triumph Tiger 800XC. So Happy trails, everybody. I hope this video will help somebody else.